Hey everybody, this week we wanted to share layer clipping or ways of kind of preserving the transparency of a layer. And the reason why we wanted to show you this is you'll probably see this quite a bit in our videos, but it's basically to kind of maintain a shape. So let's say if I create a shape like this, just wanting to maintain this shape and paint freely within it. So if I fill a shape like this, so one of the ways that we preserve transparency is actually this checkerboard button in your layer palette. You'll see next to the word lock. If you click that, a little lock shows up on the layer. And what that basically does is it preserves the transparency so that I can kind of paint freely within that shape and not worry about losing that exterior edge that is right all around. So that's really one nice way of doing it. Another way that we might preserve transparency is actually sometimes we want a little more flexibility and we're not completely sure of the commitments we want to make. So sometimes if you click on a new layer and you hold down the option button, and if you straddle that line between the two layers, you'll see this little box with an arrow shows up. If you click that, it kind of almost attaches that layer to the layer below. And that's also another way to preserve transparency. So if you kind of watch this, I can paint within that layer and it will kind of preserve what's there. So if I go back, hold down the Option key on a Mac, I'm not sure what the PC equivalent is, but if you hold down the Option key, this little icon shows up and you can see that actual paint layer is actually doing more than what you see, and then if you group it. And the nice thing is sometimes if a pattern's landing in a place you don't like, you can kind of move it around a little bit or transform it without affecting that layer. Also, if you hold down Option and click on a new layer, you can also do it the same thing by clicking this box, use previous layer to create clipping mask, and it'll use that previous layer. So that is a really nice thing also to use to preserve the transparency of that layer. Another way to affect the overall mask, let's say I have something like this, but I wanted, this edge here I'm feeling like is not quite what I want. I can also refine this by creating a layer mask. So if you see this little button at the bottom of your layer palette that has a gray box with a gray circle in it, dark gray circle in it, it creates this mask, and this mask is in all white and black. It's all in black and white layer, white being kind of transparent or completely opaque and black being transparent. So what that means is that as I paint this layer black or white, so let me just show you for example, if I create like this heart shape in the middle of it and fill it with black of this layer, if I go back to the image, you'll see that that little guy is creating a transparent layer, or transparency in that layer. So go ahead and fill that layer with white. But the nice thing is I could, if I paint with black, so if I switch over to black here, painting in that layer mask, I can start to affect this edge a bit and refine it a bit more using just that layer mask. And right now, if I click all this stuff, get all this stuff and move it around, you could see they all kind of move together, and you could see here, watch the layer mask that moves with it. If I click this little link off here, and I select just, for instance, this mask, you could see I can adjust that layer mask independent from the painting so that it slides separate from it. Okay? So that's the tip this week, is kind of layer transparency and how to kind of preserve some of these edges. It's most useful, I feel like, in preserving edges and preserving shapes. As you get a more complicated painting, it's really nice to be able to have the control over these shapes. All right? Great.